You've done everything right. You put money in your 401k every paycheck. You got the employer match. You didn't touch it. You wrote out the crashes. You contributed every year for years, maybe decades. You did exactly what the experts told you to do. And yet, if you're being honest with yourself, you feel like you're falling behind. You feel like retirement is getting further away, not closer. You feel like the number in your account keeps going up, but somehow your future keeps shrinking. You're not crazy. You're not bad with money. You're noticing something real. Welcome to Exit Velocity. Today, I want to tell you something you're probably not going to hear from your financial advisor. Your retirement account is a lie, not because it's a scam, not because someone's stealing from you, but because it's built on a foundation that is silently crumbling underneath your feet. Let's start with the basics. What is a 401k really? It's an account where you put pre-tax dollars into a bundle of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and those investments are supposed to grow over time so that when you're 65, you have enough money to live on. On paper, this sounds great. Historical stock market returns are around 7 to 10% a year. You contribute for 30 or 40 years. Compound interest does its magic. You retire wealthy. But here's what that picture leaves out. Every single number in that calculation is measured in dollars, and the dollar itself is being silently destroyed. Think about it. In 1971, the year the US went off the gold standard, $1 bought what takes about $7.50 to buy today. That means if your grandfather hid $1,000 in a mattress in 1971 and you found that cash today, it would buy roughly the same as $130 bought back then. Almost 90% of the purchasing power gone, just gone, erased. And it's not just an old problem. Since the year 2000, the dollar has lost roughly half its purchasing power. Half in about 25 years. And it's accelerating. The last 5 years alone, the dollar has lost about a third of what it could buy. And we're told this is normal. We're told this is healthy. We're told a 2% annual inflation target is a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's a slow motion robbery. Now apply this to your retirement account. Let's say your 401k grew from $100,000 in 2015 to $200,000 today. That looks great. Your account doubled. You made 100 grand. That's the story your statements tell you. But here's the real story. During that same period, the purchasing power of each dollar fell by roughly 30%. And the cost of everything you're eventually going to need, housing, healthcare, food, gas, childcare, went up by much more than the stated inflation numbers. In real terms, your account didn't double. It barely kept up, and in some ways it lost ground. This is the illusion of gains. The number goes up, you feel wealthier. But when you try to actually use that wealth to buy something in the real world, you discover that the world got more expensive faster than your account grew. The stock market is playing the same trick on us that real estate played on us in the last episode. When you look at the S&P 500 chart going up and to the right, you're looking at a chart that's denominated in a currency that's losing value. Of course it goes up. Everything priced in a melting ice cube has to go up just to stand still. If you price the S&P 500 in gold or in Bitcoin, the picture changes completely. In gold, the stock market has gone roughly sideways for 25 years. In Bitcoin, the S&P 500 has lost something like 99% of its value. Same stocks, same companies, totally different story because the unit of measurement changed. This is the part nobody talks about in retirement planning. They never tell you, hey, by the way, the ruler we're using to measure your progress is shrinking every year. Because if they told you that, the whole system would look very different. It would look like what it actually is, a treadmill. You running hard, the treadmill speeding up, and at the end of it, a finish line that keeps moving further away. There's another layer to this lie. Your 401k is locked up. You can't touch it until you're 59 and a half without paying penalties and taxes. In the meantime, it's invested in a basket of whatever mutual funds your employer picked. You have very limited control. If there's a market crash the year before you retire, tough luck. If the government decides to change the tax treatment, tough luck. If inflation accelerates, tough luck. You've outsourced your financial future to a system that has shown over and over again that it will not protect you. The Fed will print when it's convenient for them. Congress will spend when it's convenient for them. Wall Street will extract fees when it's convenient for them. You are the last priority, so what's the alternative? This is where Bitcoin comes in. And I want to be precise about what I mean. Bitcoin is not a stock. It's not a bet. It's not a lottery ticket. Bitcoin is the first savings technology in human history that cannot be debased. That's the whole thing. That's the entire value proposition. It's a monetary network with a fixed supply, protected by more computing power than any other network on Earth, with no CEO, no board, no government, and no printer. When you save in dollars, you're trusting the Fed not to print. They will print. When you save in stocks, you're trusting that the companies you own will grow faster than the dollar falls. Some years, yes. Some years, no. When you save in Bitcoin, you're trusting math. You're trusting a piece of code that's been running for 17 years without ever being successfully attacked, without ever minting a single extra coin beyond the schedule, without ever needing a bailout. 21 million forever, no exceptions. Now I want to be clear. I'm not saying liquidate your 401k. I'm not a financial advisor. There are tax implications, employer matches, real world reasons to keep contributing. What I am saying is understand the game you're playing. Understand that the number on your account statement isn't real wealth. Real wealth is purchasing power. Real wealth is how many hours of your life, how much of your work you can store for the future without it rotting. For most of human history, that was hard. Gold came closest. But gold is heavy, hard to move, hard to verify, and governments kept confiscating it. Now, for the first time, we have a digital asset with all the monetary properties of gold, none of the physical drawbacks, and a supply schedule that cannot be changed. This is the hardest savings technology ever created, and the longer you wait to understand it, the more of your work gets silently transferred to people who understand it already. That's the real retirement plan. Not a promise from a system that's been breaking promises for 50 years. A savings technology that doesn't need permission, doesn't need trust, and doesn't decay. Your retirement account is a lie because the dollar is a lie. The exit is a money that can't be lied about. Next episode, we'll talk about what it actually looks like to start moving some of your savings into Bitcoin, the wrong ways, the right ways, and the mistakes most people make when they first figure this out. Until then, think in Bitcoin.